beautiful people. It is Timotha, Lanae, and I'm outside. It's a little windy, but hopefully you can hear me. But I just wanted to share something that God, I believe, just gave me while I was out doing my bike ride, and I feel like it could be helpful for you like it was helpful for me. So right before I went on my bike ride, I just happened to see this little verse. I'll show it to you right here. James 4:6b. This is my daughter for her school. They have them learn a verse. And so it's therefore, he says, God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. So I was like, interesting. So before I went on my bike ride, and I'm going to get to the point, so just follow me on my way of thinking. But as I went on my bike ride, I said, before I went, I said, well, what is pride? Because God resists the proud, gives grace to the humble. And so I looked it up. I just like, what is it actually? So when I looked it up, it said that pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, what's humble? If it says God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble, I was like, well, what's humility? And it says a divine characteristic that is a heart attitude of meekness, lowliness, and absence of self. So it's like, okay, so pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. Humility is a divine characteristic that is a heart attitude of meekness, lowliness, and absence of self. Okay, so when I went on my bike ride, I had that verse in my mind that I just showed you. Therefore, he says, God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. And I was just thinking about these two characteristics. So as I was, y'all, when I tell you, and I'm going to explain to you how this all ties into what I've been going through on my health and life journey and how I realized I was making it hard for myself, but just follow me here. So as I'm thinking of this verse from James 4:6, how he resists the proud, gives grace to the humble, I go on my bike ride. And as I'm riding my bike, my favorite little part is when I kind of climb this hill and then I go down the hill. Well, when I tell you, when I tried to go down that hill, it was like I was at a standstill because it's so windy outside that my bike, it wasn't going down the hill fast. I didn't get to have that little fast ride, easy, use the momentum of the hill. The gravity didn't pull me down because I was being resisted by the wind. And I thought about it. I said, the verse I just read before I came on this bike ride was God resists the proud. So I don't think it was a coincidence that when I get to this part of my bike ride that should be easy going down the hill, that all of a sudden I feel this resistance and I'm literally like, I'm stopping on the hill because the wind was so strong. It was resisting me as I was going down the hill. And so what I say all this to say that God showed me that this is, even though you can't see the wind, you can feel the wind. The wind is real and you're feeling resistance on this, what should be an easy path in your life, going down this hill because this wind is here resisting you. You don't want me to be resisting you, even though you can't see me. What do we battle against? It's spiritual warfare, right? So even though you can't see me, just like this wind is resisting you going down this hill on this bike ride, I will resist you if you get prideful. I give grace to the humble, but I resist the proud. And so I said, oh, okay, Lord, well, where have I been being prideful? And so he's showing me that even on my health journey, as I've been getting better and better and better and really like, oh, I'm doing really good on this, my eating plan, sticking to it, sticking to my eating plan and things like that. I started to realize that even though I know he was giving me the strength to be on this plan and doing good on the plan, there was still a level of pride that was coming with that. Oh, I'm doing good. Oh, I got this. 30 days on this plan. I got it. Y'all, when I tell you I got to 17 and a half days, and where did I find myself? Right back where I was. Right back at the beginning, eating stuff I didn't need to eat, feeling sluggish. And it was because I started to get cocky, proud, thinking, yeah, I got this, there ain't no way. Literally on that 17th day, I woke up and said, there's no way I'm going back. Look how far I made it. And then later that day, I was having like achy pains, detox symptoms. And I'm like, if I just have a little bit of this, I'll feel better. And so where was I? Right back at square one. But so what God was showing me is that don't ever get cocky, proud, arrogant, full of pride, because I resist that. Always acknowledge me. Always know that at any moment you could fall, any moment in any area of your life. So trust in me. Here comes that wind that was resisting me on this bike ride, on the bike ride. But he's saying, trust in me, and don't ever trust in your own strength. Never, because that will be the downfall. Oh, sorry, I was about to blow this blow this thing over. But you see how strong the wind is, even though we can't see it. You can hear it in this phone, I'm sure, as I'm trying to talk to y'all. But that's how that resistance is what happened when I was on my bike ride going down that hill. The wind started to resist, which should have been an easy ride down the hill. I was literally at a standstill on that hill going down the hill. Because of the wind, this invisible force. And so this scripture, James 4:6, God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. It was such a beautiful illustration of how when we start to get prideful or get out of his will, there will be resistance, and we don't want to be fighting against God in our life. And so it's just a simple little illustration I wanted to share, just how he showed me, even if you feel like you're doing good, or if you're accomplishing the things in life, in your career, in your relationship, things are just going great, don't ever start to think that you got it. Don't ever start to think that it was you. All the time, if you go in the Old Testament and you read when he's talking to, having Moses talk to the people, like in Deuteronomy, he's telling them, don't start to believe that when you get into the promised land, the land full of milk and honey, and you're full and you have all the things you need, don't forget where it came from. Don't start to think it's because of you. Remember where it came from. And so that's just what I went through this morning, just riding the bike, and what I went through with my health journey, doing really good, and then thinking I got this, and then realizing you don't got this. He's just showing me, I resist the proud. Stay humble in everything. Don't just worship me in word, but worship me in deed, in your heart. So don't just think, oh yeah, God's helping. Don't say God's helping me, but you really think you got it because you're sticking to a plan, or you're a hard worker and you did this, you achieved this. No, it's only by his grace and his mercy that you had the fortitude to withstand, or the mental capacity to achieve whatever you've achieved, academically, or with your job, or with a relationship, whatever it might be. Just never get proud, because you're fighting against God, making life harder for yourself as you become prideful. He gives grace to the humble. He will usher you along. Instead of the wind, like how I felt the wind resisting me on my bike ride, he will be the wind, like they say, the wind beneath your wings, lifting you up, or the wind pushing you up the hill when something's hard, if you are humble. So think of when he talks about Moses in the Bible, how he was meek, how Moses was meek, and always thinking of others, and always glorifying God, putting him first. And he walked with him, and he gave him wisdom and how to navigate leading the Israelites. And so we need him in our life, how to navigate our journey. So just think of that. I don't have to be on here long. I just wanted to share this with you because it was such a powerful illustration. I thought it was so crazy that right before I went on my bike ride, I read that scripture about he resists the proud. And then I go down a hill that should be super easy to get down. Sorry, I'm just trying to talk to the mic since it's so windy. I go down a hill that should be super easy to go down, and then all of a sudden it's super hard, and I feel that resistance, and I'm barely moving down the hill. And I just feel like he was trying to show me, even though you can't see this wind, I'm like the wind. If you get out of my plan, if you get out of alignment with me, I will resist you. I will be resisting you. I will be like this wind on something that should be easy in your life. It will become hard if you get into pride, if you get out of my will, if you start to quench the spirit by living in unrighteousness and things like that. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I see that some of you are on here. I know it's the middle of the workday, so a lot of people aren't able to get on the live, but thank you for those of you that are on here. Let me know where you're watching from, if you have any questions, and please do like if you haven't liked. And I do plan to come on live this Sunday because I'm just am publishing my new food journal that I've talked about in my other live streams that I put a lot of time into, and I'm sharing a lot about, in the beginning of the food journal, I'm sharing a lot about like my health journey and the different things to look out for. And then also, then when you get into the actual food journal, then it just has different prompts about how to really look at like, what are you eating? How is it making you feel? How is your sleep? How is your bowels? How are you reacting to different supplements? All those different things. I have all these different prompts in the food journal, so I should have that this Sunday to be able to kind of show you all that, and we can just talk more about just healing from a faith-based perspective. Because one thing that I talked about in my other live streams that I've done on Sundays is how I was approaching healing. I was a believer. I am a believer. I would read my scripture. I would be praying, but I was approaching healing from my mind and from searching, what do the gurus say? What do the doctors say? What herbs should I take? All those things. And God has put herbs on this earth to help us and food to help us if we use it correctly, but He doesn't want us to worship the created thing. And so I believe that what I was doing was in some ways worshiping the created thing instead of the creator, and expecting those things to heal me, not realizing where my help really comes from, comes from above. And so now this channel, I really want to focus on, there's some practical things to healing. That's why I have the food journal, but I want to really focus on the faith-based approach to healing, because that's when my healing journey just sped up, is when I started really putting God at the forefront of my healing, seeking Him for my healing, asking Him what's going on with what is this mystery illness that I have that no doctors can figure out, no blood test, no CAT scan, nothing was figuring it out. And it was through prayer and through food journaling, which He led me to do. It's how I discovered the things that were actually going on with me, and I was able to make the proper changes. And so if I get what I'm sharing today about, are you making life harder for yourself? I would realize that even in this journey, as I've for the past 6 months really been seeking Him, I can still get out of alignment and need to course correct. And that's what I realized was happening in this past like 6 days or so. I was getting in pride because of how good I was feeling and how I was sticking to my plan and all this stuff. And I was starting to get a little prideful, but still attributing it to Him, but feeling like I got this, And so He had to show me, nope, you don't got this, and don't get prideful, because as I say in my word, and this scripture I just showed, this is my daughter's little scripture for the week for school, James 4:6. Therefore He says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. He was showing me, I will resist you if you start to get prideful, and you'll be fighting not only against whatever physical ailment you have going on, but you'll be fighting against me. And we do not want to be fighting against God. So we want him to be the wind pushing us up the hill, not the wind stopping us from going down what should be a hill that we should just be coasting down, and He's resisting us. And that's what happened to me today while I was riding my bike. The wind just started to push against me as I was going down the hill. But it was a beautiful illustration of this scripture of how God can resist us. What should be easy can become hard when we are not in alignment with His will. So I just pray that you all are doing well. Let me know if you have any video topic ideas that you'd like me to talk about. Like I said, I'm focusing more on faith-based approach to healing, as opposed to only herbs, only food. We know that God has put these things here to help us, but that shouldn't be where we're only looking for our source of healing from those things. So I just pray that you all have a wonderful day, this beautiful fall day, wherever you are in the world. I pray that you all are doing well. And please do tune in on Sunday, because I do plan to go live Sunday. So take care, God bless, and I will see you all in the next video.